The company that created the world's first digital camera failed to survive the digital era. It didn't miss the technology, it owned it, and it still went bankrupt. That company was Eastman Kodak. Kodak's story begins long before digital technology, at a time when photography was a luxury. In the 1870s and 1880s, taking a single photograph required expensive equipment, chemical knowledge, and significant time. Photography was reserved for professionals and the wealthy. George Eastman, Kodak's future founder, worked as a bank clerk and pursued photography as a hobby. He quickly identified the industry's core problem, complexity and inaccessibility. Eastman's goal was not to build a better camera. His goal was to make photography mass market. In 1888, Eastman founded the Eastman Kodak Company in Rochester, New York. The company released the Kodak No. 1 camera, preloaded with roll film for 100 exposures. The camera cost $25, a substantial sum at the time, but affordable for the growing middle class. Users took photos, mailed the camera back to Kodak, and received printed pictures along with a reloaded camera. Kodak charged $10 for processing. This is when the slogan that defined the company's future was born. You press the button, we do the rest. This was not just convenience. It was a business revolution. Kodak built one of the earliest large-scale recurring revenue models based on consumables. In the early 20th century, Kodak expanded rapidly. The company invested heavily in its own production of film, photographic paper, chemicals, and equipment. It opened factories in the United States, Europe, and Canada. Kodak became a vertically integrated corporation, controlling the entire photography supply chain. By the 1920s, Kodak dominated the global photographic materials market. The company acquired competitors, patents, and research facilities. Its research center in Rochester became one of the largest corporate R&D laboratories in the world. By the mid-20th century, Kodak had become the universal symbol of photography. Its film was used in journalism, cinema, medicine, science, and everyday life. Kodak supplied materials to NASA, the U.S. military, and leading universities. By the 1960s, the Kodak brand was recognized in nearly every American household. The phrase Kodak moment entered everyday language, describing a moment worth preserving. In the 1970s and 1980s, Kodak was one of America's most powerful corporations. More than 140,000 employees worldwide, massive factories, advanced research laboratories, billions in annual revenue. During this period, the company generated the majority of its profits from film and photographic chemicals. Film margins exceeded 60%. Each camera sold was merely an entry point into a long-term consumption cycle. In 1996, Kodak's market capitalization exceeded $30 billion. The company ranked among the most valuable corporations in the United States. Its dominance appeared unshakable. Yet inside Kodak, a disruptive technology had already existed for years. In 1975, Kodak engineer Stephen Sasson built the world's first digital camera. It weighed nearly 4 kilograms, had a resolution of 0.1 megapixels, and stored images on a magnetic cassette. Each image took more than 20 seconds to record. The camera was based on a CCD image sensor developed at Bell Labs. Kodak possessed all the resources needed to lead this technological shift. Sasson demonstrated the device to Kodak's management. They immediately understood the implications. Digital photography required no film, and film was the foundation of Kodak's profits. Kodak did not ban digital research, but it refused to let it become the company's core strategy. Internal presentations explicitly warned about cannibalizing the film business. Throughout the 1980s, Kodak spent billions of dollars on research and development. The company accumulated hundreds of patents related to digital imaging, sensors, and image processing. Yet its strategy remained defensive. In the 1990s, Kodak released early digital products, but they were expensive, limited, and never positioned as the future. The company continued to direct its largest marketing budgets toward film. Meanwhile, competitors took a different approach. In 1981, Sony released the Mavica, one of the first electronic cameras. Canon and Nikon invested heavily in digital SLR systems. They had no legacy business to protect. By the early 2000s, digital photography became mainstream. Digital camera sales grew by double digits each year. Film sales collapsed. Kodak attempted to catch up. The company entered the digital camera market and briefly became the leading seller of digital cameras in the United States. But profitability never followed. Margins were thin. Competition was brutal. Prices fell year after year, and smartphones eventually eliminated the need for separate cameras for most consumers. The company that once profited repeatedly from every photograph now lost money on every device sold. By the late 2000s, Kodak was reporting multi-billion-dollar losses. Mass layoffs followed. Factories were shut down. Patents that could have defined the digital era were sold to cover debt. In 2012, Eastman Kodak Company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Its stock collapsed to near zero. Tens of thousands of employees lost their jobs. The company that defined 20th century photography failed to adapt to the 21st. Kodak emerged from bankruptcy at a dramatically smaller scale. It refocused on printing, industrial, and B2B solutions. Its presence in consumer photography was effectively over. The irony of Kodak's collapse is simple. It did not fail due to a lack of innovation. It failed because it refused to destroy its own successful business model. Kodak proved one of the harshest truths of modern business. When a company fears the future more than it values survival, its past success becomes its greatest liability.